Today in the crypto space, we're experiencing a bit of sideways price action throughout the market. Bitcoin still hovering around that $52,000 level. Ethereum right around that $2,800 mark, down approximately 2% give or take. And the rest of the crypto space, the altcoins, a mix of green and red. Of course, we have some good gainers like Render, BGB, and a few others. However, there are a few dips like OP and Mina. In today's video, I want to talk about the general market. I want to use Bitcoin as a leading indicator, but more importantly, I want to talk about one altcoin that has respected the TA, and of course that project is called PAAL. So you know what, let's talk about the news, let's analyze the charts, and let's strategize to capitalize. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mike, and let's get right into it, guys. If you're new to the channel, welcome. On the channel, we talk about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the altcoins, looking for opportunities. Whether we go up or down, bearish or bullish, it doesn't matter. All we want to do is stay one step ahead of the market so that we can capitalize on any of the volatility. And if you appreciate the strategy, subscribe to the channel, click that bell so you don't miss out on any of my future videos, including the live streams at 7:30 Eastern, where we talk about crypto news and price action. Guys, if you have any projects you want me to cover here on the channel, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. You can hit me up on the socials. The links are in the description. But better yet, guys, join the Discord. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. All right, guys, let's begin. Let's see what's going on here with the general market. As we see in the top 100 is looking a bit hesitant. You know, there's a sense of weakness around the corner. I feel like it could be the opportunity to expect a pullback. Bitcoin right around that $52,000 level and going sideways. Ethereum getting a bit of a correction. Of course, Bitcoin showing a bit of frothiness means that the market in general will be looking to de-risk. And de-risking means they start looking for risky assets. Risky assets, of course, it begins with Ethereum. I know it's a large cap, but definitely there's some risk associated to altcoins in general. It's not as a large cap as Bitcoin, but with, you know, such a project that's leading the way for the altcoin season, it could be possible that we get a little bit of a dip before we get a continuation. BNB still looking okay, going sideways, but Solana dipping down 4.5% more or less. We have many others that the hang time is looking really real here. Really scary here for Cardano, down approximately 1.5%, but you can see the structure made a lower low, guys. It broke below the previous lows, and it could be looking for lower levels. Avalanche as well. Okay, we got to understand that a lot of them, although they are dipping, you know, the trend is still your friend, right? We're still making higher highs. Perhaps we're coming down for a higher low. And that's something that we got to understand here. However, if we scroll right back up and understand that Bitcoin could be looking for a bigger dip, yeah, that means that altcoins will be coming down with it. And as a leading indicator, Bitcoin currently is very, very frothy, very top heavy. And it could be possible that we see Bitcoin come down. Guys, in today's video, we'll take a look at Bitcoin for sure. We'll take a look at, obviously, we're taking a look at the top 100. And then we're going to take a look at today's video is about PAAL. We're going to look at PAAL, the PAAL chart, to see exactly what was happening. And maybe we can be looking at it from a learning opportunity. We see a lot of these projects still grinding to the upside. Polkadot doing good. We have Polygon still grinding, still doing its thing. Sheep taking a pullback, but you can see, generally speaking, guys, not really much actionable moments at the current moment. We do have some dips. Like Optimism right now is probably the biggest dipper in this top 100. It is down 7%. Not looking good. It made a slightly lower low, as we can see. Potentially the beginning of a change of structure, change of character in the structure, making a lower low. Maybe we get a bounce and make a lower high. We make that lower high as a confirmation high. Guys, not looking good. Optimism could be rolling over. And it would be absolutely normal to expect that to happen, given the fact that Bitcoin could be showing this weakness. People will be de-risking, and we'll see the market take a little bit of a dip. We see VeChain at least going sideways at the current moment after its nice little rally, 55% to the upside in the last 7 days, looking pretty good, of course. But again, is VeChain going to have what it takes to hold up if the market dips? Good news is that if a project is pretty much in its ascent and it's moving to the upside, and Bitcoin decides to take a dip, it's very likely that we could see those strong bullish coins with the momentum in its favor go sideways. And for me, that's a really good indication that after the dip is over, that altcoin might continue to the upside. So we got to watch out here, because if Bitcoin takes a dip and we see some sideways price action in some of these altcoins, after the dip is done, we could see a continuation to the upside with some real good strength. So going sideways in a market-wide dip is a sign of strength. So that's really what I'm looking for here as well. Near protocol coming down, still within range, higher highs, higher lows. And you can see that's a very consistent thing as well. You know, although this dip does look a bit aggressive on the chart, even look at Filecoin, it's down 2%, big deal. The reality is it's still a higher low. We grind it up, a little bit of a correction, maybe we consolidate a little bit and continue to the upside, but Bitcoin needs to give us that signal. As you can see, the market is not really convinced. Render's looking good, but did get a dip. It ran up today, and then it comes down. So this is the reality. It is still up 7.2% in the last 24 hours. But also in the last 24 hours, there has been a dip. So a little bit of those gains have been eaten away. The graph is waking up a little bit, 4.6% to the upside. It's up 15% in the last 7 days. But is it going to get interrupted by a potential dip on Bitcoin? This is the issue here, guys. So it's a bit of mix, a bit of, risk to be had here. BitGet token is flying 17% to the upside, and it continues moving to those higher levels, up approximately 56%, guys. Helium doing good as well. Not bad. Like, generally speaking, if you look at the 7 days, we do definitely have some good gainers. Double digits, really good gains. But in the short term for today's one of those bearish days, and leading into the weekend, what could we expect? A lot of us expect maybe some green. I expected a bit of green this weekend. We were leading into the weekend very strong here, guys. But today is a change of direction. It could be possible that we begin a bit of a descent, a bit of a dip here. It could be possible that we get into some sideways price action and get into some choppy price action throughout the weekend, which is the worst time to be trading choppy price action. Choppy price action during the weekend means there's going to be a lot of volatility. The order books are thin. The retail market's trading, and we could see a lot of people getting wrecked. So be careful out there if you're looking to start trading over this weekend, especially if we continue with this kind of stance where, you know, we expect a continuation, but we're getting a dip type of thing. We could go choppy, whipsaw, all that kind of stuff throughout the weekend. So be careful here. Guys, tonight at 7:30, we'll be talking about this market in a little bit more detail. We'll give it a few more hours to resolve itself, to see if we can reclaim some of those previous highs to give us some confidence for some price action over the weekend. All right, guys, I know you're here to talk about charts. Let's begin our analysis talking about Bitcoin as a leading indicator, and then we'll talk about PAAL. Bitcoin at the current moment is looking okay. At the end of the day, it is still okay. If you look at the daily, nothing has really changed in this price action other than the fact that we're taking a bit of a pit stop here at about 52K. 52K was the target for myself, where I expected, you know, a bit of a reaction, and I was very aware that I wasn't going to be interested in trading Bitcoin at this level. Why? A little bit of sideways gave me and my portfolio the opportunity to run to the upside and outperform Bitcoin. And guess what, guys? If you got into some bullish price altcoins in the last little while, definitely they have been outperforming Bitcoin despite the Bitcoin dominance going up higher. Guys, let's look at this in a little bit more detail. We can see Bitcoin hesitating here at 52K, and it's possible it gets a rejection, guys. Okay, so if you're absolutely bullish on Bitcoin, be careful here, guys. I'm not saying that it can't continue. It could definitely do that. And we'll take a look at some momentum and some other indicators. But what about if it does roll over? What about if this was just a little bit of a hunt at this level, a trap to trap people up? The bulls all up into this level, hunting the liquidity, and then all of a sudden coming down and getting to lower levels, perhaps coming down to about, you know, some people are calling about 40K, you know, back to the previous low area. I'm saying that even if we came down to about 35, that would still be fine. In fact, if we came down to 25, that still would be bullish. In fact, that would be super bullish. Getting a nice confirmation low, a nice retracement down here, giving us a nice rounded bottom with some good convictions. Nice, another opportunity to, deploy a bit more capital might be possible, but the market doesn't have to promise that. In fact, I would be DCAing at all levels. If we came down to here and we saw some good oversold conditions, I would be buying. If we came down here, oversold conditions, I would be buying. And of course, I'm always going to be reserving a bit of capital on the side, just in case we do get some massive fire sales throughout the market. But the real issue here is I am not going to be buying Bitcoin on those retracements. I'm going to be buying full on altcoins, because again, those altcoins will give you those life-changing opportunities. Those money-making opportunities are here, and you can't just fade them. You got to pay attention to the fact that altcoins can make some really good gains. Let's look at this momentum. At the end of the day, we see that the RSI, well, how's this RSI doing? Yeah, even if it does get a rejection where it is right now, it's still a lower high and it's still downward sloping. There's still potential bearish divergence here. Now, it could be possible that it doesn't happen, but I'm not willing to bet. Right now, we're very overbought again. You know, didn't hold up the trend perfectly on these little tops and kind of get rejection right around here. It kind of went up and break, and now it's kind of double topping this previous high. Okay, it's fine. At the end of the day, there's still divergence here if we close this way and we start rolling over. So I'm going to be very patient here on Bitcoin. It's definitely at horizontal resistance at 52K. We see the overbought conditions on the RSI. We see the MACD very overextended in zones that previously got rejected. And we're getting one pale green histogram bar here on the MACD. It could be the beginning of potential consolidation before we retrace to the downside. And this is one of the reasons why I am not longing, and in fact, I'm waiting for a little bit more data to suggest a bearish thesis for a short. Okay, so be very careful here. I'm acting too quick. On the 4 hour, we do definitely see a bearish divergence. It's there on the 4 hour. It's very, very clear. Higher highs on the price action, lower highs on the RSI, and the MACD is getting that EMA cross, and the MACD is coming down. Red histogram bar is not looking good. And to tell you the honest truth, if we came down for a short-term dip based on the 4 hour, we got oversold, we came back up, and then all of a sudden got a double top, even a slightly higher high with bearish divergence, or a lower high as a confirmation high. Guys, that's the time to really get into some short positions and take those profits, you know, protect those gains, because the market's going to want to hunt your gains. Definitely take them back. All right, guys, that's enough about Bitcoin. Bitcoin is still doing its thing. We'll be very, very patient, but let's take a look at PAAL. What's going on with PAAL? Today, PAAL did something really, really good. Okay, now this is not the only project to run. There are many projects running today, just that it's not a complete market-wide run. We're seeing a few altcoins based on some good fundamentals, some good narratives that are getting some good reactions to the upside. And you can see PAAL at the end of the day respected some really, really good price action. Sideways horizontal support right at the top of the volume gap, as I always look for. You know, looking for tops of volume gaps are areas of where the bulls are going to want to protect because of the liquidity, because of the empty space at these lower levels that people can get wrecked. And ultimately, this is all it. This is where the time to take a risk is. Yes, it did fall a little bit below, but if you would have taken the chance and DCA, you're technically in a zone where you're buying the bottoms, right? You have to have those convictions. Now, all of a sudden, you start looking at the daily momentum, not really giving you an edge other than the fact that we were in the chop zone. Guys, and if you've been watching the channel, you've noticed that many altcoins, with regards to their RSI, have been going sideways in the 50% zone of the RSI. Let me zoom in a little bit more so you can see this a little bit. The 50% mark right here generally depicts choppy price action. Then we potentially could get support like we've done here, and we've seen many altcoins not get fully overset or oversold in the oversold conditions here. Now, if that's the case, the only way you can be hunting for entries is on the 4 hour. But all of a sudden, you see this thing got the support. Let's see what happened in the 4 hour, just so that we can get a play-by-play here. And all of a sudden, it got a bounce. You can see, like, look at all this sideways price action, accumulation, and then pop straight up. Now is not the time to get into a fresh long, guys. In fact, we should be getting defensive. And when I talk about being defensive, what I'm really talking about is understanding the fact that if you happen to buy these bottoms based on this signal, you're in some decent gains, and you're going to want to get defensive on those gains, because gains are meant to be protected. You can protect them in many ways. There's not one secure rule. There's not one recipe to actually get defensive, but it does include a stop loss, and it does include taking some profit. So what I would be doing here is understanding the fact that, okay, you got a good entry, we broke trend, we broke previous highs, we broke all kinds of price action, and that we are in extension level mode. If you take the swing high all the way to the swing low, based on the base of this wedge, you can see that we hit the 1.27. Let's be a little bit more accurate here. Right around here, you could see that, or maybe, yeah, that's pretty good. Swing high. I just want to be a little bit more accurate so we can align this properly. Okay, so we got one right here, 1.27. Let's get a little bit more accurate. Push this up. If I could do that properly, I'm not sure why that's not working. 1.27, and we got the red arrows right there to suggest, look, why not take a bit of profit? So we also have the extension level 1.618 golden pocket extension, which means that we could potentially get up to that level. Now, you're going to take the chance. Guys, right now, if you do some math, if you do a measurement from the entry to the current scenario where we're at, more or less, just more or less. Okay, actually, you know what? Let's be a little bit more modest. Let's put it right around here. to where we are right now, it's 130%. So let's suggest that you're up 100% at the current moment. You got some options. Number one, you can trail up a stop loss. I would be putting your stop loss at least at the golden pocket right here. You got many tops to act as support, and the retracement down to the golden pocket could happen, and a slight breather to the downside where you get maybe to about this level, 2 cents type of thing, 20 cents, sorry guys, 20 cents could be a good retracement zone for a healthy, you know, 0.38 type of retracement. We could talk about that in a second. Let's take a look at that from a swing low all the way from here to a swing high. Let's say this is the top. You come back down, a 0.382 retracement is at the previous high. If you come down to the golden pocket, you got all of these tops to basically hold up the price. So I would definitely from here, if your entry is right around here, trail it up here. That would make you in some profits. I would say what kind of profits are we talking about? You're going to lock in about 50% gains, which is decent. Now what you can also do to mitigate a bit of risk is to take 10% off the top, which reduces your position size. So if this thing decides to retrace and come down for a bit of a back test, okay, at least you know for a fact that you've taken a bit of profit and you have some cash on the side to buy the dip if it does retrace and come down, maybe to the 0.5 fib, maybe to the 0.382 type of thing. So ultimately you want a safety net to make sure that you walk away profitable here, and you also want to reduce your position size so with that when it does retrace, you're not losing so much because your position size is smaller and you have capital on the side that you've taken off the table to deploy in a dip on this project, which is PAAL, or on something else that has yet to run, because obviously you can see this thing made a nice move to the upside. So I would say, you know what, it's not a bad time to de-risk. Now, if we start looking at momentum is definitely in overbought conditions. No sign of bearish divergence yet. You can see that the MACD is really propped to the upside. EMA is facing up with green histogram bars, which doesn't give us any indication of weakness at the current moment. So these targets right now are very blind in the sense that you could take a bit of profit and maybe it could continue to the upside and you're still gonna, you know, have a bit of exposure. Now, if we go into the 4 hour, what kind of data do we have? Honestly, not even that much. We made a slightly higher high here. Now, if you want to include it as a double top, that's fine, but it is a slightly higher high. The MACD is not really showing us much weakness. We could continue to the upside even based on its current position, right? But this first little dip here could be the beginning of some pattern like this one that could suggest a bit of a dip. Now, if we do make it double top, some sort of bearish divergence with some confidence, guys, you could expect a bit of a retracement, even as low as coming down to touch the previous high. And again, it's at about 20 cents, and the golden pocket is pretty much at 17 cents. So having a little bit of a stop loss in this volume gap right here at the golden pocket is not a bad idea, just in case we get a deeper retracement. Just in case here, guys, this is not bad. You see a bit of a hesitation based on this back test, you know, get it a little bit lower, get in here with that stop loss just in case it decides, because you can protect your initial investment. Number one, first priority, your initial capital. Number two, your gains. In order to call yourself profitable, you got to protect those. So right now we're definitely in some profits, and this is a great problem to have. Obviously, no matter what at this point, you could definitely walk away a profitable trader. So take it full advantage of it and come up with this plan to defend those gains. Guys, if I've offered you any value in this video, you know what you got to do. You got to slap that like button. It does help out with the algorithm. And of course, guys, join me live tonight at 7:30 Eastern, where we talk about crypto news and price action. If you have any projects you want me to cover, that is a great time and place to make those requests, and I'll put them in top priority. Take care, guys. Have a good one. And don't forget, buy the dip.